From the newsrooms of the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, this is 4020. I'm Michael Chammas. It's finals week 1. Today, Christian Nicolussi from the Sydney Morning Herald joins me in studio as we dive headfirst into finals week 1 for 2025. Christian Nicolussi, we're back. We've had a little hiatus, a few months off after Origin, but 4020 by popular demand returns for the finals. Welcome back, brother.
2 months. You feel fresh?
Yeah,
Finals
feel
are here.
good. Yeah. Feel good. Excited about it. Business end of the season. Got through the stuff. I hate that period after Origin. There's like a 6-week period where you just don't give a stuff.
Yes.
And
It's a bit of a lull, a bit of an Origin hangover.
yes.
But of course, you hit Father's Day,
Yeah.
and then you hit the finals. Father's Day, which I heard
Yeah.
was very interesting for yourself. You got 3 kids that we know of. But
Yeah, that we
tell
know
me,
of,
Tell me
yeah.
what happened.
Oh, look, disappointing start to the day. Had the eldest son dob in his younger brother, Broncos fan, big Reece Walsh fan, and I start my day pretty upset because he's dobbed him in for chucking a Reece Walsh, drinking out of the toilet. Him and his cousin spotted drinking out of the toilet, and I tried to have a chat with him, and he constantly kept saying it wasn't me. Zach forced, in fact, his cousin kept forcing me to do it. I said, mate, you can't drink out of a toilet. He said, it wasn't me, I was forced. He just couldn't understand that it was him. He did drink it, doesn't matter who forced him.
Oh.
So now I'm on red alert for any sort of drama with my son's health.
What did you think of that? Have you ever been tempted to put your hand in the toilet? If you saw my toilet at home, my God, I think twice about even going to the toilet at my place.
I've put my hand in the toilet. Sometimes you had to. If someone's dropped something, I think I've dropped the phone
I was
in
going to say, you
there.
ever dropped your phone?
Yeah, I've dropped my phone in there. But putting your hand in the toilet to get something and washing it is completely different to getting a bucket in your hand and drinking from it. And I tell you what, my parents' toilet that my son drank out of wasn't just installed. It's 30 years old. So, everyone,
So it was a good Father's Day.
Yeah, it was
It
great.
sounded like a raging success.
It was great, yes.
Speaking of, Reece.
yes.
What a
Reece.
great segue right
Is
there.
he injured or not? What's going on?
No, I can't believe the fun and games that we're reading about this Sunday game, which, mind you, I think is going to be the match of the round.
Yeah.
But some of the stories coming out about the Raiders Broncos, especially coming out from up north, we all know they've got one team in the finals, but it's going to be a long month if we're reading some of the stories coming out.
So
The
what-
mind games, Josh Papalii's injury, Reece Walsh. Do you believe for 1 second
Well, you were
he's
in
in
Canberra.
any doubt?
You were
Yes.
in Canberra the other day for their media op. Do Canberra not believe it's legitimate? Do they think they're playing games?
I think they enjoy the mind games. I think they just saw Reece Walsh coming out with a calf injury, a so-called calf injury, which came out a day after the story that Josh Papalii could be in doubt, in some fair dinkum doubt, mind you, with an ankle injury, and they just thought it was tit for tat. Think back to Vegas last year, or Vegas this year. Canberra put 2 players up, Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies. You were there.
You know, I was there.
The
I was
hotel
walk of
stoush.
shame outside the hotel in Las Vegas. Yes.
Canberra, great. They got on the front foot. They put the 2 up for media. Lo and behold, the next day, I'm pretty sure Brisbane word out Ezra Mam. They were just copying Canberra. And then again, lo and behold, 9 months later, Josh Papalii goes down with an injury. And sure enough, Brisbane felt obliged to follow suit and come up with this Reece Walsh
I
injury.
did hear something last week saying someone, I think it might have been Buzz, suggesting that there was some animosity between Ricky and Madge.
Oh, I
'Cause-
don't know. They were
because Madge was on the
coaching
coaching
together,
staff,
of
wasn't he?
course.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think Madge got the job to... Where did he get the job?
He got the
Brisbane.
Origin job.
He got
No,
the Origin, and then he went
job
to
and left.
Brisbane.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. Canberra boys, they love each other.
So you were declaring Reece is going to be fit. What
I'm
about
declaring,
Josh Papalii? What's the go?
Reece Walsh should be fit. Now, I run into Josh Papalii. Mind you, Canberra went down there.
Mate, if
lovely
you ran
day.
into Josh Papalii, you wouldn't be
I
living.
love Josh Papalii. We got some pork and some lamb. They put on the salads. It's lovely. We should get down to Canberra more
Well, hang
often.
on, they fed you down there.
They fed us. It was lovely. It was worth the trip
Benny
alone.
Pollock, well done.
Apart from the mileage, but I'm not going to keep bringing up mileage every time we do this podcast.
No.
But there was Josh hobbling around, saw his ankle. He said, "How are you, brah?" I'm never sure if I can say brah back to Josh Papalii, but I did. I said,
Yeah.
"Good, brah." Then I saw his ankle, his left ankle. It was very swollen, very black and blue. I said, "You're going to have to send me a photo." Before I could hoe into my pork, he'd sent a photo through to my phone. And, of course, that was a great story. We ran it Tuesday for Wednesday. And then I read this morning it was this mind games. It was Canberra deliberately leaking this photo just to sort of set off the alarm bells north of the border. It's fascinating. It's great for the game. It's going to be great Sunday. But I'm not sure. To answer your question, Josh Papalii, he's got to get through a fitness test. He wants to make the call early so whoever replaces him has ample time to get his head around what's going to happen Sunday. The beauty is they finished first. They've got that second bite at the cherry. So there's no massive rush to get him back on Sunday. Bit similar to Adam Reynolds. He's got that luxury where it's not do or die this week. As much as you want to win and book that spot straight through to week 3, the same with Reno. If it was a grand final, he'd be playing. If it was a grand final for Josh Papalii, he'd be playing. They'll be back week 2 or 3.
One of the players messaged me while you were there, and after your story came up and said, does Nico realise that we actually used ChatGPT to get that photo done?
No.
It wasn't real.
I saw the photo myself. If I took the photo myself, it would have been exactly the same.
Yeah, well, AI.
There's no chat GPT on my phone.
Just saying, be careful. Be careful what you believe out there.
I can't believe people are questioning my credibility. I bet you it was you.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be one to question your credibility given some of the stories you've had this year.
Who wins Sunday, by the way?
I think that one is a genuine flip of the coin.
Yeah.
I think that is probably the closest game of the lot. The one I'm most excited about is I think the storylines coming out of the Bulldogs Storm game are going to be significant. Reid Mahoney dropped from the team. Toby Sexton recalled. Cameron Ciraldo in front of the media on Thursday to talk about that decision. Confirmed that would be the case, said that Toby Sexton provides them more flexibility on the bench with being able to cover more positions. Panic stations or strategic smart move?
I like Toby Sexton on the bench. I'm pretty sure when Lachlan Galvin first played his game this year for the Dogs, it was Toby Sexton that moved into dummy half when Lockie came on, and it was Reid Mahoney that threw the toys out of the cot in the sheds afterwards. I just think he offers flexibility. We keep forgetting Lockie Galvin, 20-year-old kid. This is his first finals campaign. He's done well to hold his bottle for this long, but I think if the pressure gets too much, you've got Toby Sexton there as the option to move into the halves. He can play dummy half. Reid Mahoney, I spoke with a few Bulldogs mates this morning, just trying to get my head around what's going on with Reid Mahoney. He was a captain of this club. He was a captain of this club.
They're clearly off him though, Nico, right?
Something's amiss. It's got.
And
I don't know whether
I
it's
think
a
the way he
cultural
handled
problem.
himself, you mentioned the dummy spit, the way he handled himself after the game, the way he's conducted himself since, I think it's left a sour taste in the mouths of the people at the Bulldogs. And now we know he's going to the Cowboys next year, but Canterbury, I think they think he's whinging, and I think they think he's not good for the team morale. I really like Reid Mahoney. I think he'll be a good signing for the North Queensland Cowboys, but something's not right there. And it's carried on to the football, and it's carried on to the perception that the coaching staff have around Reid Mahoney, and it's resulted in him being dropped.
And Ciro's big on culture too.
I don't think it's purely footy tactics, Nico.
I can't work it out. Reid Mahoney, I love his energy. You only have to go to a Canterbury game to see the lift in the crowd when Reid Mahoney comes on with his energy. I think he offers more in attack. Defensive, though, he's always been this problem defensively. I know he's a very good defender.
Yeah, but Toby Sexton's not going to come on and answer and fix your problems defensively. So it's not going to be about. That's not the reason they're dropping him.
But it's discipline as well. He is good for a penalty. He missed a few tackles last week. I'm with you. I think there's something more going on behind the scenes. The fact that he's not going to be there next year must make it easier to sort of push him to the side tomorrow night. But I'm not sure what's going on. To answer your question, I like the addition of Toby Sexton ahead of Reid Mahoney.
What do you make of the noise around Galvin at the moment? Stephen Crichton came out during the week, interview with Danny Weidler about constantly he's in his ear talking about forget the outside noise. It's only about the people, the opinions of the people in this building that matter. Your family, the people who are close to you. Keep that circle tight. Do you think that Lockie's handled the noise well?
I think he has. I feel sorry for the kid. You got to remember the first half of the year with Toby Sexton when he was playing with Canterbury. They were betting up on a lot of teams that basically aren't there now in September.
Yeah.
Flat track bullies, for use of a better term. Lockie Galvin comes in. He came with a lot of drama. It was a messy exit from the West Tigers. So West Tigers fans are already cranky with him. He's having to deal with that pressure there. Comes into Canterbury. He's doing his best to fit in. Canterbury had a tough run home. It's funny, I think they played Penrith a few weeks ago. It was a second-string Penrith team, and I made a point of sitting in front of Ciro's box with a couple of mates that are season ticket holders. And Canterbury was struggling there for a bit in attack. Against a Penrith team, we all thought they were going to put 60 points on. But again, referring to the crowd, you could just sense their frustrations with Lockie Galvin. And there was a telling moment, I'm pretty sure it came through on the TV, when they cut to Toby Sexton in the stands, and that was the biggest roar of the night. It's funny how fickle fans are. I don't think Lockie Galvin is offering Canterbury anything less. But at the end of the day, he's a 20-year-old kid. It's been such a massive year for him, and mentally, you'd like to think it's going to eat away at him eventually.
That's why I always said it was a bizarre move for everyone involved. Canterbury, Lockie Galvin, for what happened to transpire when it did. Like, wasn't it always in everyone's best interest to play out the year and start fresh next year, where the pressure's not going to be like the Bulldogs were? I take Cameron Ciraldo and the Bulldogs' point on the fact that winning was masking their performances. The performances were actually giving them reason to be concerned. And then you bring Lachie Galvin in to try and fix it. Maybe they were so worried about trying to fix it, they didn't actually work out how Lachie was going to help them fix it. And an off-season would have helped him do that. And what it would have done, if things didn't play out the way it did with the Tigers and getting so ugly and so personal, and then also the fact that Stephen Crichton talks about the outside noise. What's the inside noise? Your coach has moved on the halfback to bring you in. Your general manager has just called you 6 months earlier the greatest 18-year-old player he's ever seen come through. Better than Brad Fittler, if you're looking back in history, who Gus has seen develop. So it's not just the outside noise. The pressure's internal as well, because Lachie Galvin would know all this.
Yeah.
He would know that these guys think of him. He would know they moved heaven and earth to get him in there. And I think he's the right signing. I think he's good for the club, and I'm glad he's gone there. If he's not happy with the Tigers, I'm glad he's gone there. It's just the timing. The timing of the mid-season and the ugly bust-up and your players, your teammates turning on you, and having the whole world focus on you. That's a result of the circus that transpired.
He couldn't have stayed at the Tigers, though. That would have been...
But he didn't have to do what he did at that time.
I know, but you're talking about the timing. There was no option. He had to leave the Tigers because it would have been just this distraction. It was weighing down the Tigers. You could see.
He could have kept saying...
It was a breath of fresh air when he left.
I want to make a decision on my future at the end of the year. He could have kept saying that, Nico.
I think it would have done more damage for him mentally had he stayed at the West Tigers. Not because of any pressure or anything going on with the teammates.
I'm talking about before he told him he was leaving. Before he told him he was leaving, he didn't have to reject Shane Richardson, Isaac Moses rejecting him then and there. You know how it would have played out.
Should have done the right thing.
They should have done it.
Should have stayed out. Should
and
have seen out
should
the
have
season.
And Richo is to be blamed as well. He should have known that was coming. They weren't ready to sign. Making him an offer when they weren't in a position that they were convinced it was the right place for the future was only going to end in him getting rejected. But he wanted to come out and do it when he did.
I still think it was
a
no-win situation. Sorry, I know. I could see you fired up. As soon as you mentioned Richo, I could just see it. It's like dynamite. There's no way he could. It was untenable for him to stay at the West Tigers. And you could see that the Tigers they lifted. They weren't necessarily a better team without Lachie Galvin, but you could just tell they would have been turning up to training. It was just an elephant in the room. He had to leave. He left. You got to remember, he's walked into a club midway through the season. All these players, and it's very similar to Talon De Silva, his good mate at Parramatta. He was expected to hit the ground running straight away. I think both of them have done a pretty good job, but you need that full preseason.
And that's
You're underestimating a full preseason, getting to know the systems, getting to know the calls, working out what your teammates, what they like, what they don't like. He hasn't had that luxury. And again, I keep repeating myself, but he's 20 years of age. And the last 4 weeks, Canterbury, for all the talk about their mobile pack, how they can run rings around their opposition, they come up against big packs, they get dominated. And what happens when a pack gets dominated? It gets harder for the playmaker.
Well, that's why.
Now you fired me up,
Now
Michael.
that's why Dylan Brown made the right decision not going to Newcastle mid-season. He had the opportunity to. It wasn't the right thing for him. And it would have been a stopgap solution.
But it was never messy at Parramatta. It never got ugly at Parramatta.
Because he didn't allow it to become messy at Parramatta. He could have. They dropped him, remember? They dropped him and said, we're not going to play you anymore. He could have kicked stones.
That's maturity too.
He
He's not a
that before they
20-year-old
dropped him.
kid. He's not a 20-year-old kid that Gus has talked up as the next Messiah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on.
So who wins again? I have to ask you. Who wins tomorrow night?
Dogs will beat the Storm.
Oh, of course you have. I've seen your tipping.
Dogs will, I've got the Dogs winning the comp.
Okay, wow.
You call me a Galvin hater or a Gus hater, I've got the Dogs getting it right. I've got the Dogs
I'd
winning
like
the
to
comp.
see Cameron Sarah. I'd like to see some success for Canterbury. I'd like to see a Sydney team. I'd love to see the 60,000 fans continuing to spill into a core stadium. I don't know. I think it's a pass mark already.
If they ignite the fans, Western Sydney are up, swell of momentum, I reckon they can go on a run. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, move on.
Panthers. Warriors.
What about your story? Are you going to be at the Pullman Hotel?
I've heard they've alerted the hotel. They've got some security measures in place to make sure. I actually had the bloke reach out to me.
I can't believe Matty Cameron even bought into this story this quarter.
Why? Well, they'd already been made aware of it before I even rung them.
That's outstanding.
So the guy reached out to me. The guy who posted.
What did he say?
Well, he just wanted to say, I was just joking, like covering it up.
Sorry, you should give us an example. Give the listeners
I'll read
and
it
the
to you.
viewers.
I'll read it to you
What do we
directly
call
if you
this
want.
podcast? Do we call it listeners or viewers? Give us an example. What are we actually talking about with this story? Fill us in.
Well,
so of course the Warriors.
a Warriors fan page with 35,000 members. There was a post on this private chat about getting out there and making it hard for Penrith, their fans. One of the suggestions, and I took it as tongue-in-cheek, and it probably was tongue-in-cheek, and that's what the guy, I think his name's Siona, he messaged me saying it was meant as a joke. But he's encouraging He named where the team was staying, at the Pullman in Auckland. Sorry, I just named them again. Don't worry, we haven't got listeners in New Zealand. But he encouraged them to go there between 1 and 4 a.m. leading into the game. Fireworks, burnout, screaming, make life hell. Now, we've seen in world sport.
Yes.
It's a very common thing that happens, especially with internationals around soccer and
Very
football.
funny. It's a quirky story.
It is. But the Panthers didn't want to take any chances.
Of course.
They haven't asked to be moved, but they've got the hotel on red alert, the NRL on red alert. And, if anyone dodgy starts walking into the hotel to pull a fire alarm, they'll be all over it.
1 o'clock in the morning. Is that at 1 o'clock in the morning New Zealand time or
Yes.
Sydney time? Anything goes over in New Zealand. I remember going over for Tonga being Australia in 2019. 24 hours later, a couple of the main streets in downtown Auckland were still closed because the Tongans were celebrating, letting off car horns. I don't know, 1 o'clock. It's not the
Friday
serious
night.
idea. It could
It'll be
happen.
Saturday
It's
morning,
Auckland,
Auckland. You never know. Never know.
I like it.
Who you got there?
I think
Penrith too good?
Penrith. I didn't realise Mitch Kenny was out. I actually covered the Dragons game last week. Maybe I just started watching the computer having a bet on the horses in the second half because I just thought Penrith were going to run away with it. I didn't even realise the hooker had come off.
Might have to get
He's
you
a
covered
big
in the
out.
South Wales Cup this week.
I feel for the Warriors. I agree with Andrew Webster. It's a clean slate. It's a new competition. They have dead set limped into the finals. I don't know.
They shouldn't win.
They were top 4 candidates 4 weeks
but
ago,
that's
but I think they're going to be cannon
injuries,
fodder.
of course,
I think they'll have a crack. I think Nathan Cleary has really started to go in an upwards direction. He'll just get the job done, with or without Mitch Kenny. Again, he's not the be-all and end-all. He's a big out, but I think Penrith have got too much class, and I think they'll win comfortably.
Penrith for me as well. What about Roosters Sharks? Who wins that? Winner
We're all
of that game plays the
underestimating Cronulla
loser of Canberra, Brisbane.
What about Shark Park? How many people are they getting in there?
Yeah, about 18.
We shouldn't bag that place too much, though, because they
Why?
do the best feed in the media.
Okay.
Like I'm telling you, Canberra's feed was good.
Mark,
It's got nothing on the
You must have
Shire.
covered a few games there this year by the looks of things. You got Sharks, Roosters.
I like Cronulla. I think they've flown under the radar. They're in winning form. I like the Roosters. They are hot and cold. When they're hot, they are really hot. But that first half last week against South, again, just when you thought they were turning the corner, their completion was absolutely dreadful. It was just a shame that South Sydney, they weren't in the kind of form where they could have put them to the sword. They didn't. I like the Sharks. It's going to be the year. Fitzy up against his old club. He'd love nothing more than get a win.
Well, I think Roosters get them. I think 6 teams can win the comp, and the 2 that can't are the Warriors and Sharks.
Wow,
So,
that's called hedging your bets.
I think there's 6 teams capable of doing it. I just don't see the Sharks and Warriors. Warriors through injuries. Sharks haven't really.
Josh
convinced me
Taylor,
this year.
make sure you record that and we'll play that next week.
Yeah, don't play it to Fitzy. I'm sure they did invite me into their inner sanctum in Vegas. Thankfully, I won't be there next year.
Oh, Michael, funnily enough, the 4 teams that went to Vegas, they're all still here.
Ah, yes.
Unbelievable. Just
good
when you
point.
thought they all focused on getting up for the grand final in
Good point.
March 1, was it? Early March?
Yeah.
Here we are, still swinging, middle of September.
One team that's not there is Manly. Some news this afternoon. Danny Widler's reported that Tom Trbojevic is potentially going to be heading to the Super League. Now, I reported a couple of months ago that he was open to the move.
So does this mean when we pick up the paper tomorrow, it's Danny Widler and Michael Chammas?
No, mate,
Or
I
Michael
don't know.
Chammas and Danny Widler?
Well, we don't.
Who chooses?
We don't really do
Is
a
it a
lot
toss
of
of a coin?
co-productions. Yeah, we don't do co-productions. It's not the Telegraph here, mate. We don't have 6 people on the byline.
That's true,
okay?
that's true.
No, I'm mucking around. I think so. Where it's at is clearly Tom's frustrated with the way Manly performed. I think he's frustrated with the club in general. And if the option, and that's what I wrote a couple of months ago, he's asked his management to look at his options in England. Now, on November 1, he becomes a free agent. So there's going to be some conversations with his management in the coming days about what those options could look like. It doesn't mean he'll leave, but he wants to see what's on the table. And I think, mate, let's talk about, Darren Lockyer is going to buy the London Broncos. If I'm Darren Lockyer, the first call I'm making is to Tom Trbojevic and say, mate, come live in London, get away from the pressure, you can enjoy your life, be our marquee man, and, mate, travel Europe. You've done it all from an individual point of view. Yes, he hasn't won a comp at Manly, but I think that window's closed at Manly
I
for a
disagree.
little while.
I know we spoke about this earlier, but I just, before we came in for this podcast, I think Manly have got a lot of green shoots. I think they've got a lot of young talent. Lehigh Hopewadi, Tola Kula, Hamoli's going to come back from injury. This Joey Walsh, I just think there's a lot to like. I think they signed the guy from Brisbane this week, Kobe Hetherington.
Yep.
Just a real worker. I like the signing of him. When it comes to Tom, I thought it was pie in the sky stuff. I won't lie. When I read your story a couple of months ago, Tommy
you
going to
didn't believe
England,
me.
it's almost like me going to England. People just wouldn't believe it. You're too valuable. You're too valued here on Australian soil. I think Tommy's in the prime. I think Tommy, if he was to go to England, he's been paid some good money for a long time now. And because he's such a genuine guy, he has a conscience. All good guys have consciences.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
And, of course, exactly. That's why I'm referring to myself. I'm pointing to myself here, pointing to my chest. But I think it eats away at Tommy a little bit that he's been injured. And he hates the fact that he's been paid well and his body hasn't allowed him to do the job. And at the end of the day, he might be thinking that guilt is just manifesting a little bit. And he's thinking, maybe I owe it to Manly to leave them. But I hope he doesn't, because he means so much to that Manly club. I hate the fact that Daly's already left after 15 seasons. Should have stayed. Jake's going to finish up probably at the end of next year. In fact, I'll be surprised if he even goes on beyond that. But you need Tom. You need his experience. He's part of the fabric there. And he's 29. Do you really want to be going to England, where, again, I don't know how much money these Super League clubs have in the coffers. I don't know how much they can pay him over there. I think he's living at Mona Vale. He's in God's country. Do you really want to go move to the north of England, or even London for that matter, where it gets to 22 degrees in July and they get their shirts off and think, how good's this? It's got nothing on the northern beaches. Yeah. Tommy, don't do it. You're coming into your prime.
Oh, I hope he doesn't.
You might not be happy at the moment.
But I can understand why he would consider it.
Things might sort of change at Manly. Who knows? Yeah. I know he's not happy, but grit the teeth. We all work with people. I've got to work with you every day. You don't see me looking for my options abroad. But he's a great player. He's in his prime years. Don't go to England. It'd be a waste of talent.
Hey, Nico, last point before we finish up. Peter V'landys had a crack at Snoop Poodle, or whatever he called him.
Snoop Dogg.
It's Poodle or Chihuahua. I can't remember what he called him. Refer to the AFL as the FLA. He loves his pot shots. He loves his dad jokes.
Can't help himself.
Old Pete. Do you think the AFL care that the NRL have another crack? They've got Teddy Swims for the NRL Grand Final compared to Snoop Dogg.
Not one bit. I'd be happy with either, to tell you the truth. I couldn't name you one Snoop Dogg song.
Are you serious?
I love Snoop Dogg.
You couldn't name one Snoop Dogg song.
But I love a lot of artists. I'm never good with song titles. The same as Teddy Swims. I like Teddy Swims, but if you held a gun to my head right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you what song he actually sings. But I know him.
Well, you keep bagging Snoop Dogg, you may have a gun held to your head very soon. Anyway, that's enough for enough jibbering for 1 week. We'll be back next week for another edition of 4020.